2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple, who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us. When should we work on us in the recovery process? Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Tyler, what's up?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Summer is going to be winding down here.
I know. What are we're filming this like July 29th right now, which, by the way, July 28th was our younger sister's Lindsay. We actually call her package. She's the total package. So shout out to you, Lindsay. Happy birthday. And then Brannon, your birthday is actually in 2 days, so you'll be still in Hawaii for your birthday.
I love Lindsay, man.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, but favorite siblings, I don't know if you're on the top.
I've actually, I think when we were younger boys, I was probably right at the top for you, and the older we get, the more I fall. So I think I'm probably right at the bottom of the list in the order of who your favorite siblings are now. But that's okay. I still love hanging out with you.
No, I don't have a favorite sibling. All my siblings are just like my kids. Like, all my siblings are the best.
And I wouldn't blame you anyway, Brannon, because it's actuactuly true. Our siblings are awesome.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yes. So shout out to all of them, but especially Lindsay, because it's her birthday. So yeah, happy birthday to her.
Yeah. Well, Brad, we got a good caller today. Let's jump in. Oh, I guess again, I stalled out on this one other thing. We do have the Rising Sun retreat still coming up. It's still at a discounted price for a very short time. So if you're interested in coming to the Rising Sun retreat, risingsun.org, and it's awesome. Like, if you're a man who's looking to take your not just your recovery, but your life, your heart to the next level, you need to be there.
Well, it's just, we can't put into words what it is. Like, it's hard to sell it because it's an experience. But if you're going to spend the money therapy wise, I think it's way more bang for your buck to head up in the mountains and to actually have some experience and to get to your heart. And so it's well worth it. It's awesome. So.
I had a guy in group this last week. He came last year to the last retreat, and he was talking to some of the other guys in the group who were asking, "Hey, should we go? Is it worth it?" And his way of describing it was, I feel like I got 5 years of therapy in 3 days.
Easy what you're promising there, but
I didn't promise that. That's what he said.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's awesome. So
yeah.
so come sign up. And we'd love to have you there. So.
Yeah. So let's jump into our caller today. We got Candace with us today. Candace, thank you for having the courage to come on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your situation and ask your question.
Okay. Well, just a little background. My husband and I have been married for 19 years. We have 4 kids, ranging in age from 17 down to 8. I feel like my husband's story, our story is kind of similar to a lot of the ones that I hear call in and are on the podcast. He stumbled upon pornography when he was probably 11, through families like HBO TV that they had. And then off and on viewing it all through, kind of sobered up, went on a 2-year LDS mission. That was probably his longest time of sobriety. And then, met me, we got married. He never had a disclosure to me. And it's kind of funny because actually, even when we were dating, we were kind of, getting to know each other, talking about past things. And I would compare him similar, Tyler, to kind of how it sounds like you were growing up, Peter priesthood, kind of, I think you've quoted calling yourself a Nephi, but I would say that's similar, his personality too. So even when we were dating, it's funny, I don't even know why I asked this question, but even when we were dating, I asked about pornography use. And he actually was like, talk like that drives away the spirit, was what he told me when we were dating. And and I was like, oh, geez, go. So yeah, that was kind of our experience. So he never had a disclosure. And then I think we had been married 7 years when I found some stuff on his phone and obviously confronted about it. From there, opened up, and then I was able to hear, that it was a problem that he had had since he was a child and that type of thing. Went and, met with our bishop. Bishop, suggested couples therapy. We went to couples therapy. That was a waste and an interesting experience. But that's, and then kind of, my husband was like, I'm good. I'm not going to look at it anymore. And so I feel like that has been the roller coaster ride of our marriage until about a year ago. I was like, I'm sick of this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that's what we're constantly doing here. And so I was like, figure out, do something. I kind of pointed him in the direction of Rising Sun Retreat. I've obviously all these years been listening to podcasts. I've been doing the research, reading books, all these things. But as far as him taking control of his recovery, that hasn't really happened. So a year ago, he came and he signed on and went to Rising Sun. Came home with like a whole new outlook. It was a really great experience for him. He loved it. And so I was like, sweet, this is awesome. This is like the kickstart to the recovery journey, right? That we've been wanting. And so I felt like he was all in, full throttle, did really great for probably like the first 3 months. I don't know. And so I've learned, and from listening to your podcast, to just kind of get out of his way. Like, I'm not in charge of his recovery. And so I really have this time around just been like, I'm going to, put it all on him. So then that leads me where we're at now, because I'm like, we obviously could use some couples therapy. There's a lot of hurt and baggage and communication issues and that type of thing. And so I'm like, oh, cool. He's been doing his recovery for almost a year now. So I was talking with him the other day. And I felt like he hasn't. And then that's what he said. I haven't really been. I've been just going through the motions. As far as like seeking things out, trying to like view or look at anything, he hasn't been. So he's been sober, that part of it, I guess. But as far as like the lust still, and then whatever little things he can find on TV and that type of thing, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we're at. And so that's like, I always feel like there's a disconnect. We're not as connected as we can be. There's just always like a lack, and I can feel that. And so that's why, like for a year, I haven't brought anything up. I've kind of been just letting him handle it. But then I did bring it up the other day. And probably when I told him I was going on the podcast type of thing. And so that's where I'm at. And like, he hasn't really been doing his recovery. And so his couple therapies were, I don't know at what point you just stay kind of stay in your own lanes. But then it's like, obviously we're a partnership, we're a marriage. I want to come together and have it be the best that it can be. So it's kind of where we're at.
All right. Just a couple clarifying questions before we jump into moving forward with the topic. So basically for 12 years, about 12 years ago, you had the first sort of like finding of his problem, and then that stayed kind of under the surface, just kind of rear its head once in a while. You'd find new stuff for the last 12 years, or was it an open discussion, or was there active recovery, or?
No, just, I'm good. And then I'd find things again. It's always, he's never like, and it's funny, I'm pretty open. I'm like my biggest thing is, it's like, I know the pornography is there, but the biggest thing is the lack of trust and the hiding and not, you know what I mean? So that's my biggest thing. I'm like, you can just come and tell me. And if you have a slip up or whatever, right? Like, but I've always had to discover there's always been something or that feeling. And I've kind of been like, why do things feel off, and call him out on it. And he's like, no, deny. But then, well, so that's kind of,
Okay, so that's how it's been basically for the 12 years since you found it until about a year ago. And then a year ago, you kind of had something break inside of you that was like, I don't really want to do this dance anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to babysit. I don't want to,
And so then you've started kind of a more intensive kind of a recovery since then? Yourself, and then also for him too, or just for you?
No, not really.
Okay, but you just basically said, I'm done doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had
I'm done like calling him out on it, babysitting, like being the gatekeeper of his recovery. So I've stepped away that way, whereas before, and obviously I've learned that does no good, you know what I mean? And all of that. So before, I think I really used to feel like I had some control over his recovery, which I don't. And so this last year, like I haven't handed him books. I haven't, I have none of that, just kind of left it up to him.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. So, but you're now in the relationship, and you said you did marriage therapy. That was back at the first disclosure 12 years ago, and it didn't.
Yeah. And the guy was pretty much just like, don't look at it. Okay. It was a waste, but yeah.
Okay. So, and so you guys really haven't done any other kinds of like structured help support treatment at all since then.
Right.
Other than him coming to Rising Sun and
and then he's in your group, and then he's doing I don't think he's actively right now doing it. He's still doing group, but he was doing one-on-one with someone at your office too.
Yeah. Okay.
So
gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like we're talking about sobriety, not recovery, more with him, of like, he with you babysitting Candace and making sure, and he's I'm good, and I thought he was good, and like we're talking about sobriety, not actual recovery. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. When you point that out now, yes, I can see that.
It's like if he sobered up, and let's say, he was good, and he could tell you he was good, and I'm good, and nothing else changed, that wouldn't fix the trust issue in your relationship.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of part of her question, Brannon, is I obviously don't trust him. I'm going to rephrase this, Candace. Tell me how far off I am, okay? I obviously don't trust him. And he isn't, he's more sober now than he has been to my knowledge, but I'm not controlling that anymore.
Yeah.
Is there a process that we can step into where there could be some semblance of regaining trust? Because this is miserable, because I'm sitting on the sideline here just kind of waiting in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm wondering is, a lot of couples get stuck in this kind of this thought is, I can have trust when there's enough sobriety, right? Like, and that's true. Fidelity is important in the marriage. Like that's important. However, sometimes sobriety is, or relapse or slips or whatever you define all this stuff as, sometimes that's off a little bit. And so it's like, what him accepting his sexuality and who he is as a sexual being, and learning how to do that shamelessly is a huge part of his recovery. And then he can be honest and open about who he is instead of just only reporting to you when he's a good boy.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying, Candace?
Yeah.
Now him going there and like really accepting what's going on with who he is as a sexual being, that's terrifying, because he's been self-rejecting when it comes to that his entire life. And it's really terrifying with you probably because he thinks, she can't handle this. I don't know if I can do this. Right. So I don't know what he thinks, but the point that I'm trying to make is, yeah, it'd be great if he's sober. We want sobriety. But actual recovery is a reclamation of knowing who he is and then being able to show up authentically.
Right.
And I imagine that's what you would want from him.
Yeah, that's what I want. And I hear you guys say all the time, like, oh, she wants you to show up strong, not weak. And that's where I'm at. Yeah, show up strong. Acknowledge, yeah, I'm not there yet. And I support that and I get that. And it's going to be, it's been something that's been going on for years, not just going to go away in a day, right? But my biggest thing is like the lack of like connection and like emotional safety when there's hiding. And like, you know what I mean? That's where I'm at, is like, it's the disconnect there from all of this. So like, I'm like, yeah, the sobriety thing, it would be nice. I get that. And I know that's not going to, be right away. And so I can that, but it's just all the hiding and just, showing up weak. And
so I had a client ask me the other day, like, he said something to the effect of, I'm worried that my very nature is unlovable. That who I am in my nature is not lovable. So if I showed up as me, I would get rejected. So when you talk about hiding, Candace, we're talking about any manipulation that he's doing to try to get love, to try to like, hey, I'm okay, right?
Yeah,
Don't reject me. And to let that go and to be courageous enough to be authentic, to find out whether you're actually lovable or not, is really scary.
Yeah.
But that's where you'll feel that strength and honesty and authenticity from him when he actually steps into that. Right.
So
Yeah. So
Brannon, that's the challenge though to this, and I actually, number one, let me back up really quickly, then I want to come back to where you're at, Brannon, for a second, because Candace is giving us an opportunity to actually speak this, and she's on the same page with you, Brannon. You got to reemphasize this. If you wait for absolute sobriety to start rebuilding trust, you've already missed the boat. That's what you basically said, Brannon.
Yeah.
Sobriety can help build trust, but you've got to start building trust in other ways other than just sobriety. And the way that you do that is by becoming more acceptant of self and offering who you actually are to the relationship. That's building trust, even if there isn't full sobriety.
Yes.
And I'd add something to that, which is building trust also requires, like, sobriety is not throwing out your arousal template and pretending like it's not there. That's not sobriety.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what it's acted like it is. Like, I've been good for 3 months. I've been good. Well, what does that mean?
What does good mean?
I haven't lusted. Well, that doesn't mean your arousal template's gone. That doesn't mean that you don't have sexuality inside of you. That is, like, all of those things. And so to be who you are, right? And so anyways, I know I keep harping on this.
Yeah, I know that's a big deal for you, Brannon. And I think Candace, you understand what Brannon's saying there, right?
Yeah.
I think you agree with what he's saying. So then back to kind of where you were at, Brannon. As you're talking, Brannon, there's something weird that's happening for me, because I feel like I'm Jeff. Candace, I actually really relate to your husband a lot.
Yeah.
I've thrown out the spiritual things to keep people at bay. I've performed overly to make sure
Yeah.
people see me in a certain way and manipulated and controlled and all of that stuff. Those are all different forms of dishonesty that then create a wall so nobody actually gets in. And as the wife of being married to someone like that, that's what I think that's really what's at the heart of your question is there some way to start breaking through the walls here? Because it's lonely. It's lonely having a guy who looks perfect, but I don't even know. And I would love to know the humanness of him and have him take off all the perfection. I that's actually what I want. And is there a way to start moving in that direction in the process of recovery, or do I have to wait for him to get sober?
Yeah, that is spot on. And I'm like getting teary-eyed because I'm like, that is exactly, and that's been my thought lately, is it's lonely. Like,
you feel
that
lonely.
is where I'm at. Yep.
You feel lonely and you have what looks like is the perfect man next to you.
Yep.
Yeah. I totally hear that.
I don't fully know. Yeah.
I've heard that from my wife many times. So I feel you. I can hear that ache on the inside, like you're longing for something more, and you're feeling helpless and powerless because you don't want to leave him,
right? But
you are lonely,
and
yet you're married to a really good guy. You just don't know him.
Yep.
In the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and I mean. Sorry, Tyler, and to your husband, Candace, but
I am a nice guy, Brannon. I'm a recovering nice guy.
Yeah, and what he says in that book is you're not a really good guy. You're a manipulator, but you're really good at it. That's what's so hard for a spouse is like, oh, everybody knows him as such this good guy that just, and like he caters to all of my needs and tries to show up good. And so what's my problem? And then Candace, here you are saying, I'm completely lonely. And, I brought this up before, Tyler, and not to air all your dirty laundry, but I remember you over in Hawaii when you visited us years ago.
Long time ago.
And your wife was like, I just want you to freaking fight with me. Like have an opinion, like show up, like be something here. Right. Like
that is us too. Yeah.
Like anything, because the Mr. Nice Guy becomes everything that everyone else needs them to be, that hero complex.
Yeah.
And it's extremely hard, like tons of shame for them. They're living in a lot of shame. But with attachment, it's so confusing for the partner. It's like one of the most complicated gaslights there is of like, I should be happy. I should be okay. My husband does everything that he tries to do everything that he should, but I don't feel trust and I feel lonely and I don't feel connected to. And it's like the ultimate form of consumption of a partner is I am so good to try to use you for my self-worth. And that's where a partner gets depleted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Is Brannon speaking to what you're feeling too, Candace?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got you sitting in your pain for a second.
That's okay.
Your question, if we could kind of come around to your question, question is as a partner who's married to somebody with the hero complex like this, who has an image management issue that's maximal, like it's like, I've got to look and be a certain way. And I'm saying this from a place of knowing your husband and loving your husband and knowing what it's like to be on that pedestal. It's a hard life. So I'm saying this from a place of understanding where he's at.
Yeah.
Your question now to us is, and I'm going to pose it in two ways. So Brannon, like you can think of this, Candace is here now asking, what do I do to help things go right in a relationship when I'm married to somebody like this who I want to stay with? And what do I do for myself? And what do I do to help the relationship? Because I'm feeling stuck and lonely right now.
Yep.
Candace, he will come to you And he will come to you in different ways, and he will put stuff past you. And one of the most important things, and you said this earlier, like I've learned how to back out and not monitor and things. That's kind of what I'm talking about. But in every way, for you to hand things back to him, to say, you make your decision. You're a grown man here. Like, I'm giving this back to you. Why don't you come and tell me what you've decided or what you think about that? Right. So would that be hard? Or do you do that already?
I kind of do that. And then he still approaches it from a place of tell me what I want to hear or how, you know what I mean? Like not really authentically how he's gonna, that makes sense. Yeah. It's like
so you hand it back to him, then he goes and tries to figure out like, what does she actually want? Not tap into his own heart to say, what's my truth?
Yeah.
And it might differ from her, but he goes and says, well, my truth is what I think that she might want.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then it's hard for you to know, is that actually his truth? It's hard for you to know him.
Yeah. Yep. So that's where we're at.
Brannon, to go along with what you're saying here, and this is kind of getting into like maybe answers to those questions that we've been asking. One part of that answer, Brannon, is you're saying make a top premium on putting accountability back where it belongs over and over again on anything. Where do you want to eat right now? Anywhere you want, babe. It sounds good to me. No, I'm not going anywhere unless you give me a place you want to eat.
And then he says her favorite restaurant.
And then he's like, yeah. And then he like sits there, like ponders for a minute. He's like, yeah, what's her favorite place? I want to go here. Then you turn to him and you say, are you saying that because you think I'll be happy with that? Or are you saying that because that's where you want to go? And then if he says, well, that's where I want to go, then okay, take it at face value and go with it. But at least put that accountability back on for ownership over and over again. The other thing that I think is important, and I hope that your husband's listening to this now because I can hear it in your voice and I could hear it in the ache you just kind of alluded to, is what he's afraid of is losing you, and what you're really wanting, you're aching for, is just knowing him. And I think it's okay to reemphasize that you're looking for, you're not saying you need to build trust with me. You're saying, I want to know you.
Yep.
Let me know you. Let me have my own feelings about the parts of you that might feel ugly to you. Like, try me, test me. Like, it's not about me not trusting you. It's about you not trusting me. Like, trust me. Yeah. Like, give me a chance to learn how to hold some of your stuff because I want to know you. And that message from a self-disclosed Mr. Nice Guy, that draws a guy like me into going, I got to figure out how to take my masks off. I want to give more to my wife. But the way that I need to give more is not by performing, but by being more honest with who I am and what I think about, what I feel about certain things.
Tyler, it's a catch-22. Like in a way, what you're saying makes me cringe a little of like, I want to take my masks off because my wife wants me to take my masks off.
But that's not it.
Problem, right?
That's not that. No, but she wants to know me. Like,
but from a guy who wants to know me, and that's my motive. That's a problem, right? The motive needs to be individual within yourself first and foremost. To say, I want to be a man who lives in integrity.
No, of course, Brannon. Yes,
regardless of her, and unless he can let her go and step in and take those masks off, like both need to happen. I'm not doing this for you in any way. And then it's this thing where she's like, holy cow, now I want to be close to you because you don't need me anymore. You stand on your own 2 feet.
No, I agree with you 100%, Brannon. I'm speaking to Candace from her perspective here of saying, how would she invite things to go right? Because she doesn't have a lot of power and control to make him become that man. Does that make sense? Right. And you're right. If he's only doing it to then manipulate her into then liking him, then he's still not being authentic.
Yeah.
Right. But there is a place where there could be some practice for that messiness of a guy like him or a guy like me needing to learn how to practice being honest with things. And I go and I give my wife something that's maybe a little bit more vulnerable than I'm used to giving. If she then takes it and is like, that just proves that I can't trust you and da 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 da, that's different than, dang, that's really hard for me to hear. But man, I'm glad you told me.
Right.
Like, like I'd rather know that about you than be left in the dark on all of that. And that gives me a chance to make a more accurate decision for myself as to what I want to do. I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that. That's an invitation that she's offering for him to practice learning how to take that mask off. But you're right. He needs to actually come and learn to do that because that's the man he was designed to be. I 100% agree with you.
Which leads to like the issue here, and Candace, I hope this helps answer your question.
Yeah.
This is not a relationship issue. But it like is everywhere in your relationship. The
Yes.
relationship is a reflection of, it's the symptom of, and so this is about something completely different, other work that needs to be done. And so if you want to do the trust building work, working toward intimacy, having more empathy in your relationship, more connection, something needs to happen first and foremost. And do you know what that is?
No.
It's something you don't have control over.
Surrender.
Well, I hate to say this to you, but like he really needs to figure out who he is independent of you first and foremost.
Yeah.
That work has to be done. So that reclamation of heart, like the work that he did at the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
No, maybe he forgot. Maybe like he fell back into the Mr. Nice Guy, like, but to come back for himself to say, who am I as a man? How do I deal with my wounds or whatever those are, to know myself first and foremost, so then I can create actual safety and trust in a relationship. But that's not the motivation for me to do so, right?
Yeah.
That has to be first and foremost.
So my question too, then, like, how does he figure that out? Like, he feels like too, like, talk therapy, I don't know. And EMDR, he's like, I don't really have anything traumatic, all that. I don't think like, so like, he's just kind of, and so I'm wondering if in his talk therapy too, like if he's holding back, they don't really know the real him, you know what I mean? In there too, because so it's like, he has a mask on there too. So I'm just like, I don't know. How do you, like, what's the advice on that and where to go and to break past all that?
I don't want to say too much because we haven't done a lot with it yet, but your husband has at his fingertips a process that's already at his fingertips that would help him dive into understanding what his trauma is.
And I'll tell you right now, he just told me the other night he's not doing it.
Yeah. There's a system of assignments and challenges and homework that would do the very work that you're asking about.
Okay.
And so you're like, how could he do that? He could do it that way. And he could then do it by going into a therapist who does do IFS or EMDR. And I happen to know, I think, who his therapist is or was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And his therapist can do either one of those kinds of therapies if he's willing to go there. Okay. For a guy like him, like I grew up at the all-American kid, there wasn't a lot of trauma.
Right. That's kind of his story too. Like he's
that's why he needs to have a couple of these other things that will help to kind of maybe sort of like bring some things to the surface that have just been automatic for him, but so he hasn't given it credence, but they actually probably had a big impact on him. And go ahead, Brannon.
But Tyler, like if we're kind of comparing you to him, like all-American kid, like truth is you had a lot of trauma.
A lot.
And the truth is he has a lot of trauma.
That's right. And he just doesn't see it yet.
Yeah. Or maybe he's unwilling to see it because like, it's interesting. Like someone comes in for an EMDR session and they like know they're coming in for an EMDR session and then we don't do EMDR. Or we do EMDR and it goes nowhere. There's these protective parts that are still there saying, no, there's an exile down under there that is so deep that I am not going to allow you to actually do something vulnerable here to get down to my heart. But it's so obvious, like it's so obvious that there's trauma there, that there's fear, that there's things there, but they're trying to keep it all buttoned up and together and say, I'm not going to go there.
You can't have the level of perfectionism and the level of performance that goes on without trauma.
Without,
that's the result of the perfectionism is coming from the trauma. It's the fear of not being blank enough, good enough, whatever enough. So I have to perform in this, or that. It's not that hard to actually go then back through and say, why do I feel all this pressure? Where did I learn this? What would happen if I didn't perform? What would happen if I didn't show up? What would happen if I wasn't the most spiritual guy at church? Like, boom, boom, boom. Oh, well, then this would mean this or this or this. Okay, now we're getting into trauma. So the pressure itself is actually traumatic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's actually causing daily trauma on himself by keeping up the performance. And he doesn't even understand that that's traumatic, because what trauma is, it's something that it's an emotional thing that happens to us that shifts the way that we see ourselves or the way we live our lives.
Yeah,
that's
little
trauma.
Trauma to the max.
And that's little t stacked on itself for years and years and years and years and years. He's doing it. Like, think of how traumatic it was when you're talking and you're dating and you're like, hey, let's talk about pornography. He's like, that offends the spirit.
Yeah.
He just totally traumatized himself. He just went against his own integrity and he caused trauma for himself.
Yeah.
That's traumatic. And he's done that for his whole life. Like that's traumatic. Anyway, we don't need to talk too much about him, but yeah, there's ways to get there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to shift and get to the answer, Candace. And it's one that, like, I'm going to say it, but it.
Yeah.
All this talk about him is great. Like, the truth is he'll either shift into some actual real work here and deal with all the trauma, or he won't. We don't know for sure.
Right.
But for you, Candace, you do have some control over your life and where you go and what you do from here. And if you keep beating the drum of, I'm going to go back to him and try to get him into this recovery thing, like that's what needs to happen. Like I need to figure out how to help him get there. Right.
Right.
You can't do that. So then what does that leave you with?
Working my own stuff.
Okay. But it puts you in a rock and a hard place of like, I don't want a divorce. I don't want our family to blow up, but I also want trust in the relationship, and I can't change him. So then what do you do?
That's why I'm here. I don't know.
This is a hard one.
Yeah.
I think one of the first steps is to get completely real with yourself and honest with yourself about what's in your control and what's not in your control. What are you choosing to be in versus what are you hoping that it is, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying go to a hopeless state, but I am saying be real with yourself. Like, tomorrow you probably won't have trust in your relationship.
Right.
If he's not actually working through this trauma and he's digging his heels in and nothing's shifting, you'll keep getting the same thing.
Yep.
So then you got to come back to yourself and you got to ask yourself, what are my values and what are my truths and what are my boundaries? How do I stay living in my integrity for myself and not betray myself when I'm in this situation? Right? Like what are my options here? And that's kind of the next step. And you list those options and you say, well, okay, I'm accepting that it is this. I'm going to choose to, I'm just making something up here. I'm going to choose to hang on in this way longer and just kind of see what happens. But I'm choosing that. And that's where I'm at right now. Now, a lot of times a partner will come to a place of, I chose to hang on for a while, and now I'm out of my integrity again because I'm hanging on longer than I can.
Than I need to
myself. Yeah. And at some point, like I got to be honest with myself, and move forward in terms of some separation, therapeutic separation, divorce, it leads to separating further because if recovery is not there, intimacy isn't there. We all desire connection.
Yeah.
We're not getting that. Am I really going to sacrifice that in my life or not? And so it sucks. The whole process sucks.
Yeah.
But at some point, you get to decide one way or the other, the way you're going to move forward. And it's not dependent on him. This is about you, Candace.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Brannon, I'll just say one thing. I want to ask Candace just a question too, but something that goes along with that, Brannon, is that as she systematically does her work and she goes, what's in my control, what's not? How does that align with my values and my integrity, which then leads to my boundaries? It sounds weird, but as she systematically makes those boundaries and lives in her integrity, even if she's leading to more and more distance in the relationship, every time that boundary establishes itself based on the truth of who she is, she's also inviting a new relationship. And he will either choose to come along into that new relationship or he won't. And that will then facilitate the next set of decisions that comes along with her reality.
but your word invite is important because it doesn't control.
No,
Right.
it's an invitation. It's a weird thing. When my wife left me, she invited me into a new kind of a relationship. And she didn't do it in order to manipulate me into changing. She did it because she was like, I can't do this. Like, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm not going to do it this way anymore. And all of a sudden, there's this void that gets created by her boundaries. And then I have to decide how I want to fill that space. And I either come and say, you know what? Those values align with who I want to be anyway. Okay, I'm going to move that direction. Or no, that's not who I want to be. Okay, that's going to get further and further apart. But it's an invitation to a change in the relationship one way or the other.
Right.
It's an invitation that's based off of me doing what's right for my own values anyway, instead of exasperatingly trying to control him and fix him because I can't accept the reality that maybe I don't have what I want right now.
We say this all the time, healthy boundaries create healthy relationships and destroy unhealthy relationships.
So that boundaries work, I think, it's the self-work of self-care will then lead to better boundaries work, and the boundaries work will be the invitation that you have control over, because you don't have control over changing him per se.
Right. Right.
So Brannon and I have been talking back and forth a lot here, Candace. Like, what are you thinking and feeling right now? What's going through you right now?
No, a lot of food for thought. Just kind of what I've always known already too, you know. So just right back there, and then just doing the work myself. I need to be better with my boundaries and that type of thing too. So just Candace, what I already knew. You just confirmed what I already knew.
Candace, I would say, and this is easy for me to say, but like, it's easy to revert back to the whole, you know, has he been a good boy or not? Like, has he been sober enough? So then we're all good and we're all happy.
That's measurable.
It's measurable, and it's a thing that, like, okay, we can stay stuck on that and just stay there.
Yeah.
And for you to go deeper and bigger in recovery for you, like your values and your boundaries have so much. Sure, part of it is about fidelity and that's important, but they're way bigger than has he been a good boy?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I value honesty. I value trust. I value safety. Those things are important to me. So I'm not going to settle for scraps of 2 months of sobriety and then we're supposed to be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually do the work on myself to show up as a woman who can create those type of things in a relationship and need that from a partner. Do you see how that's bigger than just both of you and him getting stuck on the sobriety?
Yeah, no, and that's what I want. I want that bigger, like, that's what I'm seeking. That's what I want. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Could I ask you another question? This is because I know your husband. I want to just offer him what I think is going to be a gift if he listens to this episode.
Okay.
So, Candace, if he in our treatment, we do one of the challenges we do is something called the trauma tree. And it's where you actually dive into your own history and you come up with like all of the life experiences that were pivotal in forming who you became. And that's part of it. If he were to dive in and actually really do his trauma tree, and then he came to you and said, hey, babe, I want you to really know me better, and I just did this assignment. Would you be willing to just hear me present these things to you, and would you just listen to them and hold them for me? What would that mean to you?
Everything.
What do you mean everything?
For the first time ever, him being vulnerable and like me really seeing him, like I would love that.
What would it do for you?
Show me who he really is. I don't know.
And
Yeah.
how would that help you, and how would it help the relationship?
It would create emotional intimacy, a bond, yeah, I don't know.
My suspicion is that if he did that, there'd be two things that would happen. A part of you wouldn't know what to do, and you'd be dumbfounded. You'd almost feel like you were in the twilight zone, and you'd be like, what's going on right now? And the other part of you would be like, oh,
This is what I've been waiting for.
water in the desert.
Yeah.
Like, I love you more now as a result of having shared these things, not less.
Yep.
Like, I understand you better. I know you better. I feel like I have something I can hold on to that's not just fake, not just phony. Yeah, that's really what's at the core of where your heart's at. And that's why you're stuck in that hard spot, because you're a woman who really wants to love. You're really a woman who wants that connection, who wants to give, who wants to hold space. And that's why you hold on for as long as you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Candace.
Yeah.
I know I'm annoying, but because Tyler's scenario there, part of me is like throwing up in my mouth.
Well, but you're back to that performance thing, Brannon.
Yeah, I get, Tyler, I get what you're saying. And I think what you're saying is important, of like, if he came to you vulnerably to share who he is and to
say, hey, I want you to know me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I want you to know me.
But if he goes and he does his trauma work, so then he can go to Candace to say, look how vulnerable I am, then he hasn't done his trauma work.
And I agree,
right?
Brannon. So I think it's if he goes and does the work and then is like, I want to share this with her on his own free will and choice, not for anything, but like, I want her to know this part of me, then that's where I'm at. Like, yeah, not just to come and prove to me, look, I'm doing the work and here's this and this of why I am the way I know. Like,
it's
if
not
he
about Candace, it's about him.
But it's like, but he does need to get to a spot of, I want you to know me. I want you to know me. And here's the other thing, Brannon, that you and I know I'm going to make you throw up in your mouth again a little bit, because you're just like, you're beating the drum today really hard. But there's also a good man inside of that husband of hers, that does want to attend to her needs, that isn't just a Mr. Nice guy. Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to have that part call to the better part of him to say, if you really want to provide for your wife, you've got to do the work to actually get honest. You've got to do the work to actually like accept who you are and give her you. Because the nice guy part of him is trying to provide for her by putting on a facade, and the good man in him who God called him to actually provide for his wife, that's still there too. And he needs to have that part of him called to. And the way that you practice that is you step into that work and say, hey, so in essence, what he should have done is he should have done the trauma tree. He should have gone and presented it to his group. He should have been processing through it, made some peace with it, got some new insights, and then he would come to you and say, I want you to know me.
Right. And this is all hypothetical, Brannon. This is like months down the road.
Yes. So I want you to know me with zero expectation of getting validation from you.
I want you to know me so that you can baby me and love me and tell me I'm good enough. No. Yeah, that part. That's
look at all the therapy I'm doing. I'm being good now. I'm doing therapy.
No, not that. Not that.
No. Like,
okay.
And you know what? Yeah. I feel like I'm in tune enough. I would feel that, Brannon, and know
your intuition would pick up on that like that.
Yeah.
And you know what, Candace, even if he did it genuinely, because it's been going on for so long, it's going to be hard for you to trust.
There'd be skepticism.
So at first it's going to be like, oh, it feels like this is genuine. And so there's going to be a process like separation from this codependent relationship into interdependency. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
But like, and this is why, and I know I'm beating this drum, but there's moments when he's going to say truths to you that make you uncomfortable, that are important moments for you to know that when he says the good stuff, that's real too. So like both have to exist, and yeah, that's how trust is built. So
Yep.
Okay, I'll stop beating my drum.
That's hey, it's a good drum to beat, Brannon, because I can see how what I'm saying totally gets misconstrued by a nice guy too. So
I could see him using what you just said and like, oh, I got an opportunity here.
Yeah.
I think you have a great point there, Brannon, but I also think that what I'm saying has a sliver of truth to it as well. And
I can see both sides with both of you. I totally can pick up both what you're saying, and I get it. Yeah. Makes sense. Yep.
Well, Candace, I hope that we were helpful for you today. You'll be able to listen to this a couple weeks out from now and maybe glean some new things too.
Yeah, it was good.
Just by listening. So thank you for your willingness to come on today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Candace. And
thank you. Appreciate both of you.
Yeah.
For those of you guys listening, if you hear what Candace is saying, or you find yourself in a similar spot and you want to reach out and let her know that you feel the same way, one of the best ways to do that is through reviews, or you can message us directly too. And for our listeners being here, we so appreciate having you here. And until next time, you guys, keep on keeping on.